All right, so you've probably heard people talking about Pokemon draft leagues, right? But what exactly is it? Well, if you're a beginner and you're curious, you've definitely come to the right place. We're going to break it all down step by step. This quote, "It feels like a sports league," it absolutely nails it. Seriously, this isn't just about picking 6 Pokemon and battling. Oh no, it's so much deeper. You're basically the general manager of your very own team for a whole season. You get to draft your players, your Pokemon, scout the competition, and build a team with an identity that is 100% yours. So here's our game plan for today. We'll talk about why it's like a sports league, how you build your team, the nitty-gritty of the draft itself, what a typical week looks like, how you actually win the whole thing, and finally, some quick strategy tips to get you started.
All right, let's dive right in. Section 1. Your Pokemon Sports League. What's the core concept here?
Okay, so what really sets the draft league apart from standard competitive Pokemon? Well, think about it. In standard play, you see the same heavy hitters all the time, right? Everyone's running the top meta teams. But in a draft league, it's a totally different ballgame. Once a Pokemon gets drafted, poof, it's gone. It belongs to that one player for the whole season. This means no two rosters are ever the same. It forces you to be super creative and really know your stuff. You can't just copy-paste a team you found online.
Okay, next up, building your roster. Let's talk about a crucial concept, your bench versus your starters.
This is probably the most important thing to get your head around. You draft a whole roster, right? Usually about 8 to 10 Pokemon. That's your bench for the entire season. But, and this is the key part, you don't bring all of them to every battle. Each week, you pick just 6 of them to be your starters for that specific match. So you'll always have a couple Pokemon sitting on the sidelines ready to be subbed in. And this is where the real mind games begin. It means you can keep your opponent totally in the dark about who you're bringing. Let's say you see your opponent's roster is super fast and frail. Well, guess what? You can bring in your slow, bulky Trick Room specialist just for that 1 week. Or if they're running a bunch of heavy hitters, you can counter by bringing your best defensive walls off the bench. You're constantly adapting your lineup, week in and week out.
Okay, on to part 3, the points and snake draft. These are the rules of engagement that keep everything fair.
So you might be thinking, what stops me from just drafting all the legendary Pokemon? Well, that's where the point system comes in. It's brilliant, really. The whole idea is to stop those all legends all day teams. Every single Pokemon has a point cost. The stronger they are, the more points they cost. This forces you to make some really tough choices and trade-offs. You just can't have everything you want.
Let's look at a quick example here. You've got a high-cost monster like Garchomp for, say, 9 points. Then you've got a solid mid-cost threat like Scizor for 6, and then a great support Pokemon like Clefable for just 4 points. So what do? Do you splash out on Garchomp and then have to fill the rest of your team with cheaper options? Or do you build a more balanced team with a bunch of mid-cost guys? There's no right answer, and that's what makes it so much fun. The other big rule is the snake draft. This is all about the picking order. It's super simple. In the first round, the picks go in order 1 through 10. But then in the second round, the order reverses. It goes from 10 back to 1. Then it flips back for round 3, and so on. It just snakes back and forth.
And why do we do this? Well, it's all about balance. Sure, the person who picks first gets their #1 choice, but then they have to wait for everyone else to pick twice before they get to go again. Meanwhile, the person who picks last in round 1 gets to pick again immediately at the start of round 2. It's a great system that makes sure you win because you made smart choices, not just because you got lucky and picked first.
All right, section 4, the weekly battle cycle. You've got your team, so what's your week-to-week mission? Okay, so once the season starts, you fall into this weekly rhythm. It's basically a 4-step process. Step 1, scout. You look at your opponent's roster and figure out what they're all about. Step 2, build. You go back to your bench and pick the best 6 Pokemon to take them on. Step 3, battle. You play your match. And step 4, report. You submit the results so the league standings can get updated. Simple as that. Now, this is super important to remember. All the normal competitive rules still apply. The draft part is just an extra layer on top, so you still have to worry about your points cap for your lineup of 6, the item clause, meaning no 2 Pokemon can hold the same item, the species clause, no duplicate Pokemon, and of course, any other special rules or bans your league might have. Don't forget the basics.
Section 5, Crowning the Champion. So how do you actually win this thing?
This is a really big deal in this format. The champion is simply the person with the best record after all the regular season weeks are done. That's it.
And that's a huge difference from other leagues you might know. A lot of times, there aren't any playoffs, no final tournament. This means every single week matters. You can't have a bad stretch and hope to make it up in a playoff run. Consistency, from the very first battle to the very last, is what wins you the crown. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, last section. Let's talk about your first draft strategy. Think of these as some beginner cheat codes to get you started on the right foot.
First off, don't spend all your points on the big, shiny toys. It's tempting, I know, but a balanced team is way more flexible. Second, draft for roles, not just because you think a Pokémon looks cool. You need offense, you need defense, you need some form of speed control. Cover your bases. Third, it's always smart to draft a break glass in case of emergency option. That one weird niche Pokémon that can completely throw your opponent off in a bad matchup. And always remember, a consistent roster is what wins the season.
And there you have it. Those are the fundamentals of the Pokemon Draft League. You're ready to jump in. So now I've got to ask. You've just drafted your dream team. You're looking at your roster. Who's your Week 1 starter?